In the struggle of an attempt to save the world, I was faced with several questions. How can innocent civilians be guarded from devastating effects of war? And how can we ensure there's no use of deadly weapons like atomic bombs and deadly biological weapons by some of the no-nonsense countries? How can civilian properties like the schools, hospitals be saved during a war? And what's the true story surrounding around the international humanitarian law? Why is it so of a big deal to ensure that the international humanitarian law is guarded and protected with an iron hand? Well, my friend, these questions are not pushed me into a 4 weeks research journey about who actually controls the war, who's actually in control in the war, who speaks and everybody listens. Therefore, my friend, in a way of saying thank you for the efforts put into this video, make sure you don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as I take you through what the research was able to find out. But first things first, let's understand where we're all basing from, or where we're all coming from. Therefore, my friend, the International Humanitarian Law is a basket of rules that are based on humanitarian reasons to ensure that there is lowering of any side effects of an armed conflict. And this is done by ensuring that persons that are not part of any war, or the persons that are not directly involved in any war, are protected. And also it also ensures that there is a limit on the means and the methods of that warfare. But the biggest question of the day is of what advantage is it having the international humanitarian law in place? What does the world benefit from having this document, the so-called international humanitarian law? Therefore, my friend, just make sure you don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as I talk you through what this incredible research was able to find out. But let's first further ask ourselves, what could be the first outstanding importance of having the international humanitarian law? Remember, my friend, this is a call for the formation of the initial guidelines that are supposed to be followed whenever countries go on war. This therefore informs us that the IHL, or the International Humanitarian Law, is in position to ensure and also strike a balance amongst the states and non-state parties that are involved in an armed conflict. But let's further ask ourselves, what could be the second rationale of having the international humanitarian law in place? Remember, my friend, during an armed conflict, there's need to stress the effort of ensuring that the wounded and the sick are cared for amidst the armed conflict. Therefore, my friend, humanitarian bodies like the Red Cross are supposed to be given way and are supposed to be given all the support to ensure that they go ahead and take care for the sick and the wounded during an armed conflict. Therefore, in this sense, it is still the international humanitarian law that is ensured and entrusted with ensuring that there is protection and care for the wounded and the sick during an armed conflict. But on the other side, what is supposed to happen to those that get captured during the war? Therefore, my friend, these war captives are also supposed to be treated with some level of dignity as they are equally human beings. Therefore, my friend, this research still further informs us that defending and ensuring the fair treatment of the war prisoners and any human beings that get detained and captured during an armed conflict is still taken care of by the international humanitarian law. Additionally, it should be noted that structures that protect and care for the community are not supposed to be targeted during an armed conflict. Instead, these structures are supposed to be protected. These structures include the hospitals, the schools, etc. Therefore, this research still stresses that such structures are supposed to be protected, and this is still entrusted and entailed in the international humanitarian law. So what is the stake around the use of biological and atomic bombs and other forms of mass destructions during an armed conflict? My friend, it should be noted that use of biological weapons and other atomic bombs and other forms of mass destruction are prohibited, and this restriction is still put forward and also stressed by the international humanitarian law. My friend, we still ask ourselves, how about the human rights in the middle of the war? Even though it's during the war, we need to ensure that there's defending and protection of human rights. Therefore, this research still reminds us that it's the role of the international humanitarian law to ensure that there is defending and also protection of the human rights even during such times of turmoil, the war. Further, there's need to look at the escalation of small conflicts into fully fledged wars. Therefore, this research still informs us that in some circumstances, the international humanitarian law has stopped the escalation of small conflicts into fully fledged or blast wars, hence saving lots of lives of innocent people and other forms of destruction. Further, to bring forward or to stress, war is one of the primary causes of the worsening global refugee crises. Therefore, this research still informs us that if the international humanitarian law is well embraced and well protected, we can begin to witness, we can begin to see the prevention of the growth of the refugee crises at worst, it gets to get minimized. Therefore, my friend, at this point we have been to unpack some of the shocking truth behind the advantages of having the international humanitarian law. However, the big question still remains that what can be done to ensure effective implementation of such, like the likes of the international humanitarian law and other international laws. Also, how can we ensure the creation of global peace together? Also, make sure you don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for such and more issues facing you, me, and the entire society, and also alongside their solutions that are yet to be answered in more videos that are yet to come on this channel. Bye for now. We wish you love, peace, and good health.